Welcome to another episode of InRange. I'm coming to you today with the TISAS 1911 D10 10mm 1911. When you get this out of the box, it's just like you see it here. You get a cleaning kit, chamber flag, a pistol lock, a 1911 takedown tool, which you're going to want to use because a 1911 spring that is set up for 10mm is quite strong, and two 8-round magazines. Now, this gun is retailing right now on Gunbroker for $700 out the door. Maybe shipping applies, of course. And I'm going to tell you right now, just like everything else we've seen from TISAS, that is an absolute steal of a bargain. This gun is beautiful. Everything about it says quality. The fit and finish, the matching of the parts, everything about this feels extremely high-end. If you had handed this to me without any knowledge about who made it and said this is a match grade 1911, I would have thought that this would have been retailing for $1,500 to $1,700. But you can look right now, you can get them for $700. So I've decided to take this to handgun brutality to put it really through its paces, because where else are you going to probably fire hundreds of rounds of 10mm in one day on difficult and challenging targets? So that's just what I'm going to do. But let's go ahead and do a little overview of the gun. I mean, it is a 1911 and therefore nothing that should surprise you, but let's take a closer look at it anyway. All right, so let's give you a tour of this gun. It is ultimately an unadulterated 1911. Really. It is strengthened for 10mm and has a very strong spring in it for that purpose. Let's go ahead and clear the gun. 8-round magazines out of the box. You can get 9 rounds from Chip McCormick, and that spring is quite strong to deal with 10mm. It is absolutely glass smooth, however. The machining and fit and finish on this gun is superb, and at $700, it's hard to comprehend. But everything about it is traditional 1911, ambidextrous safety. Of course, a little bit some match enhancements here. A extended beaver tail with this bump to make sure that it is disengaged so that when you have a good grip, you're able to fire reliably. Beautiful grips that are chamfered here to get access to the magazine release. Really nice feature. And very traditional target style sights. More about that later in the video. It just has a standard spring plunger and spring and a normal collet here. There is no guide rail or anything like that. However, accuracy has been more than sufficient for my purposes out of this gun. The sights provide a little bit of a challenge. Again, more of that later. But everything about this is a beautiful fit to finish for $700. It really is remarkable. So in that regard, if you're looking for a 10mm 1911, I can't see why this wouldn't be at the top of your list. Let's get to some shooting. This is day 2 and my final day of handgun brutality, and I have shot twice. First day I shot with the PSA Rock 5.7, and the second day I shot with this TISAS 10mm 1911. We really went from one extreme to the other, right?
Yep.
And the reason I want to have you in this, even though you didn't really shoot this for the match, is that I single stack this and had like an entire array of single stack mags. And I think what we watched today is my performance go from the beginning of the day decline throughout the day. Because quite honestly, my hand got tenderized, and 10mm is a powerhouse. This gun does the job, absolutely does the job, but I was so fatigued by the end of this that I was doing not as well as I could have been.
Yeah, so I'm here because like there was a few stages where Carl shot and was like having a horrible time trying to hit some of the targets. So I'm like, dude, hand me that thing and let me make sure you can actually hit with this. And then I go shoot it, and I might have a miss or two, but
you were fine.
Sights are on, etc. What I think happened with you over the course of the match is you developed a flinch because the recoil of 10mm is significantly more in the 1911 platform than 45.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you know, I have the railed TISAS 1911 45. It's a pretty nice shooting gun. You have a 45 from them as well.
It is,
right?
and it's nice as well.
And, you know, 10 millimeter is like the hot meme round for, you know, killing grizzly bears or whatever. But it comes with a cost, and it is, you know, a much more of a fatigue factor over the course of using it during the day. And you had to shoot probably a minimum of, if you hit everything on the first shot at this match, about 350 rounds.
Minimum. If you miss anything, you're going above that.
Right. So you probably shot more like 450 to 500.
That's exactly right. Today, in one day. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the fatigue factor won't come into play when all you're doing is shooting 1 to 3 magazines through it, but shooting up to, what, 8 magazines through it on one stage sometimes. Yep. Things like the aggressive texturing of the grip and the way the back strap fits in your hand, firing that many rounds, you know, a high pressure round, it's going to start having a cumulative effect.
Which are all good things for what this gun is, being a 1911 10 millimeter, except when you're doing 500 rounds in a day.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly kind of insane. I don't think I've seen anyone go out and shoot a major pistol match with 10 mil.
So it's a little unrealistic expectation. In that regard, the gun, I think twice didn't quite go into battery, and I hit it with the palm of my hand to push it into battery. I'm using stock mags that came with the gun and a bunch of the Chip McCormick 9-rounders.
Right.
So, and I had a mixture of Federal and Sig Sauer 10 millimeter ammunition.
Did you clean your mags at all, dropping them in this red rock?
No, there's probably some filth and dirt in here.
Yeah, and I think I saw more of those malfunctions if you had them occurring later in the day. Yeah, like we even have one of our other video segments where I'm like, I stopped dropping my mags on some of these bays because it's this fine red dust powder that just like is really hard to get out of your magazines, even with a brush. And that could be certainly a cumulative factor as well. So this is why you pocket or dump pouch your empty magazines, even in a match. Drop the first one. No, it's getting up like that. Second empty went in my pocket.
So what I want to say about this is I don't think any of that should really reflect on the firearm itself. The firearm itself, as I said in the intro, really looks like a piece of jewelry. This is a gorgeous gun. It is incredibly well machined. All of the guns we've gotten from TISAS have been really quite beautiful. They're nicely made.
Yep.
The fit and finish is far above what you'd expect. And this gun is absolutely in that category. The only thing I would say about it, if I were to change anything, is I do not care for the sight system on it. It's a regular notch and post, and it's got hash marks in it, and that is a very traditional sight picture for a 1911, but the front post is rather thick, and there were stages here where the front post was thicker than what I was trying to aim at by a significant degree, as well as at one point when we were doing the one with the car, the sun was right, and I was getting significant glint off the front sight.
You know, I think you'd have a totally different experience if you swapped it out for like a .100 or 110 front sight with a fiber optic rod in it for this type of shooting.
I agree.
Those are combat sights. I mean, I think honestly they're marketing this for people who like want to have a bear defense gun or something.
If you're looking at this from the purpose of a self-defense 10 millimeter, I could highly recommend it. The gun's fine. It's well made, well manufactured, reliable. The sight picture is more than sufficient to do some precision work that we did here, more than you'd think it would be, right?
Right.
I mean, I did take some pretty precise shots with this reliably. So you could too. But I wouldn't recommend shooting 500 rounds in a day, but I wouldn't recommend doing that with any 10 millimeter.
No.
It has nothing to do with the 1911 from TISAS or FK Burno or anything, right?
Right.
So 10 millimeter is a specific niche thing. Do you need 10 millimeter? Why do you need 10 millimeter? And if you need it, this gun is absolutely good to go.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder, what are you doing with 10 millimeter? Right?
Yeah, it's pick the tool for the mission, right?
Yep. Like you said, this would be a good bear gun.
Yeah.
If you're in bear country and you're worried about bears, this gun is absolutely good to go. I can see why the FBI came up with 10 millimeter and then later turned into 40 S&W, which is 10 millimeter short.
Yep.
This is a lot. And if you train with this a lot, you'll get good with it. But if you train with it too much, you get a flinch by the end of the day.
Yep.
Anyways, what I do want to say is thank you for the audience for making this possible. TISAS did send this gun to me for review directly, so we didn't pay for that. But I did shoot 500 rounds of 10 millimeter today, and that's all because of viewers like you via Patreon and Utron that make that possible. Thank you for that. If you can't, we do understand. Please just subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, defeat the algorithm by sharing with your friends. Thanks a lot.